So in this video, we're going to finish all the main field parameters with the exception of some very advanced ones, which we'll be doing in probably our last module. Um, we'll also be continuing on into a lot of block settings, and we'll probably get through them very quickly because a lot of them are just hiding and showing things or just showing quick pop-ups. So even though there's a long list here, it's very likely that a huge amount of it will be covered pretty quickly. So let's continue on with the field parameters. So we're back in our receiving block. So this is where we were receiving units. And so we had our filter field. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that. So that was a filter field. So that's causing the data to get filtered. I'll just change it to a text field. No. I need to choose whether it's mixed case or uppercase. So the next parameter, field parameter we're going to look at is the autocomplete. So this behaves very similar to our field, our autocomplete field, but it is possible to do the same thing using the autocomplete field by basically you could look up data in your own block and you could say, well, let's get the part numbers from our own block that have already been filled out. But this is just a handy way to do it if you want to autocomplete data that's been already submitted. So when I go here and I type part, it gives me everything that's been entered already. As you can see, there's 3 different unique values. That's the autocomplete parameter. We've covered the hide the label for the field a few times. Make this field read only. So there could be situations where you don't want a user to be able to change a value in the field using a mouse. So if I go to the front end, when I click this, I can't change it. I can click these ones, but the read only, there's no way for me to access it unless it's tabbed through using a scanner or the tab key or something. And what I'll do is I'll just demonstrate that. So I've moved this one to the top, test, shipment number as a rule there. I'll just put in this one. And we go to the next. So that can be tabbed in, but it can't be clicked on. So this forces certain behavior for operators, we'll say in a manufacturing area where they can only use scanners or whatever, and they can't be kind of jumping around. To be honest, it's probably an outdated parameter. This originally as well came from the idea that we had text fields but values that we didn't want people to change. But because Blocworx has come along so far, we have other ways of doing that now, like things like plain data fields where they can change the value. So the read-only field is probably a legacy, but it's still very usable if you want them to only be using scanners and things like that for certain things. I'll turn that off again just for now. We've covered the numeric field and the second option that appears then based on the numeric field, which is the amount of decimal places. So here's another one, hide from data filtering search list. So basically, let's just say we turn this back on. We make it a data filtering field. I would say other part. Oh, I'm in the wrong. Say other part. So normally you'd see an X beside whatever you're filtering here, and you can't see it here. So this is after filtering other part, but you've no control over the filter. And it's just a handy way to make this be the main filtering, and the person can't play with it, you know. So I'll untick it again just to show you. Other part, and I hit return, you can see it again. It's also possible to hide this list because as you're aware at this point, there can be more than one. It's also possible to hide the entire list, not just each field, and that is down here, hide data filters list. So as you can see, it's not there now. So we have another field parameter here called set character view limit. This sets the character limit in your records that you can see on the screen. So if I press 5 and go back to the front end, you can see here the dot dot dot. The value is still there, it's just the display really. It doesn't limit the actual number of characters you can enter. You'll have seen that that can be done using rules. It's just for display because sometimes you might have a few columns and you might want to just clean up ones that have a lot of information in them that you don't really need to see straight away. Next thing we look at is just some mobile configurations for what you can see on the screen and not. And what I'll do for this is I will reduce the screen size to reflect whether it's mobile or desktop. So I'll just get back here. So let's say we say hide from mobile, and I'll open in a new tab. And now what I'll do is I will make this smaller, and I'm kind of imitating a mobile view here using my browser. So as you can see the part number when the screen is large, but you can't see it when it's smaller. But as I bring up the screen, it goes into tablet size and you can see it again. So now let's just do another update and we'll hide it for tablet. So I'm just going to have to refresh to let it take effect. So we're not quite a tablet view yet, but now we are, and you can see it's gone now as well from tablet view. So that's the two hiding configurations. So next we'll have a quick look at more of these hidden options. You've already seen visually hide from this form. We'll just quickly look at it one more time so we can go through all of them. Visually hide from this form. When I go to the front end, it's gone. Simple as that. But it still works functionally, which means if you've rules, parameters, everything you've applied to it are still there. The next one is hide in Excel report. So when I do export all data, you no longer see it there. As you can see, there's no part number. So these again, just to recap, these are called that basically it's like choose hidden options. So this drop down is just a list of things for hidden options. So I'm going to skip some of these because they're actually legacy, and by some people that will be doing this course, you won't even see these. What you will be seeing definitely is the hide in Excel report, the visually hide in form, and this is a different one called hide from external data lookup, which we can touch on as well when we get to our very advanced modules regarding APIs and people doing their own custom HTML and stuff like that. So at this point then, what we're left in the field parameter sections are things that are very, very advanced for you really understand Blockworks and how the flow of actions and rules works, where you know all the fields and you need to make a few exceptions or you need to do a few kind of very special things. And for that reason, I'm going to leave them out of this particular module, and we leave them till the end. There is a very basic one here, which is the field names in different languages. So let's just get out Google Translate for a minute. And we just go English. And I'll just explain to you here how this works. There's Portuguese, Polish, unfortunately I don't speak these languages, so it takes a bit longer. German. And then update language settings. So we have a whole app setting which can be managed in app settings, and you can set what language you're using. So let's say at the moment the default is English. Let's change it to French. So when you change the app setting, it also changes all the front end wordings to the language that you've set. So anyone logging in, this isn't for a user, this is for the entire customer. Anyone logging in can now see the translated version. But it's important to keep in mind it doesn't translate anything dynamic that has been created. For example, these block names. It just translates these other kind of system words that don't change for anyone. However, it is possible to translate the fields. So when I go back in here and I go back to our receiving, oh, I just realized that the part number has been hidden. So as you can see, here's the name of the field has been changed. And we'll remove this one, inform. So that's the hiding, the visual hiding. So as you can see, now we have the French translation for that field, and we have it here as well. So when I go back to the app settings, we can change it to whatever language we want. So let's just say Polish. And basically that field setting parameter will apply. We do need to make an improvement where you can change the module and block names as well, because at the moment it's probably not much use. I'm in the wrong block there. At the moment, I suppose you're still restricted by the name of the module, but it is handy for users that, you know, if you're going to have different versions of the same app, you can have different languages. We'll be getting on to the idea of sharing modules so that different customers can see different versions, but that's again in the future modules. That's more related to resetting the same module and stuff like that. So I'm just going to change back the settings back to English. And as you can see, this, I suppose, is nice exposure to our app settings page, which we'll be touching on in the next module. We also have an edit theme page, which we'll also be touching on. We'll go back anyway to our product returns and we'll carry on with the block settings. So at this point, like I was saying, everything we've covered all the main field parameters, and it's just some very kind of specific and advanced stuff that we're going to leave, which is the field actions, load data from another block. We're going to have a module about our schedulers and how you can automate stuff, and that's part of this, the dynamic data. And then there's a bunch of parameters here that allow you to have even more control over when things happen and what to do with them and stuff like that. So we move on to more block settings. We've covered all the main block settings, and we'll have a look at some of our functional behavior settings. Anything you see me skip by, we're probably going to be removing to a legacy system anyway. For instance, this one, hide anti-static strap. So the next one we'll see is we have one called automatic saving. When I do that, we'll have to do a new block for that because it's designed really for basically having whatever's in your form automatically saved. Saving demo. So let's just make it full width. Say field 1. And duplicating, as you can see. And now we'll turn on automatic saving. What automatic saving does is create like a temporary record until you decide to do your final submit. So let's just say test. As you can see, it's highlighted in yellow to indicate that it's not kind of fully finished yet, this record. Another value and field 3 value. So as you can see here, the button final submit is what triggers it to actually save as a proper value. So I click final submit, and now we have this value saved. The important part about this is that we'll do another one, second entry. Important part really is that you can leave the block and come back. So let's just say if I go to outside of here, back in, without saving anything, we have this value right here, you know. Now, just something to highlight myself. Overall, I wouldn't be using this too often unless you felt it was absolutely essential, because it is important to remember that you can edit blocks. So, or you can edit records, sorry. So, you know, it's a lot neater and a more structured way to store data. So, for example, I've turned it back off again. Yeah, you come back to the block and it's not in the field, that's fair enough, but you still have the data and you can still edit it here, you know, and then you can continue on doing what you were doing. So really it's just a shortcut for doing that, but this is a bit more organized because when you use automatic saving, it has to be the latest record, which means if someone else comes along, they're going to see the same thing. Whereas when you use editing, you can just simply edit whatever record you wish to do so, you know. So we carry on anyway in the parameters. Can't submit data. So we'll just quickly cover this one. So I am an admin, so I am going to be able to still submit data despite doing that, but I'll just quickly show you what it'd be like for a different user. I better just add them. So we go to roles, and I will add the operator role. I'll just double check the username that we had, employee account. No, product returns and automatic saving demo. If I try and submit data, you'll see there's no button. And even if I did figure out a way around it, even in the back end, it doesn't give me any permission to submit that data. It's just impossible. Except, of course, if that user or role is given that permission. And what we'll do now is do that, so that'll cover another permission of ours. So we go into admin and development, and we'll say we're going to do it to the role, not the user. So it's the operator role. And can submit data even when submit data option is disabled. So I've saved that one. And we'll log back in again. Product returns. And as you can see, I'm the employee operator role, and I'm back to being able to submit data. So let's carry on. We go to receiving. So we go back because we're kind of finished with that other block. That was just to show you the auto saving. Making images files public. So this one is actually quite a specific one for people who want to share links to images without them having to log into Blocworx. So this block doesn't have any images, but I'll add a field that has a file. And we'll just upload an image or two. So image example. Just while I'm here, I'm just going to get rid of the rule from here. And we'll just say shipment number, part, doesn't matter, serial, image example. And I have some images made up on my computer of these training modules. So normally we click here, and that's your way you would access the image. And as you can see, you have to be logged in, obviously, to get that image. So we'll just turn off the setting once quickly, just for a minute. So there's a URL that I suppose it comes with experience to know the URL, but view public image is called. And by putting the word public in there and putting API here, this URL here is basically public access. But you're going to see this. You do not have permission to view this image. Please contact the person who provided this link. So if this link is sent to someone, API/view public image, and then your domain there, there is no access generally. By turning on make images files public, it gives access. So there, I just refreshed, and it checks if it's logged there, if it's publicly available or not. It's a bit of a specific feature, and we are working on better ways of doing it where we add tokens and stuff like that. We do have all that in place. So for now, it could be possible that this will become a bit of a legacy feature, but for now, that's what it does anyway. Anybody can edit this block, edit data in this block. Very handy feature. A lot of times you're going to have a situation where every single user can edit uh, the block place, the data in the block, so that everyone will be able to access this part and access this, no matter what role they have. Because as you're aware at this stage, if you don't have that role or you're not an admin, you can't edit records. While I'm there, I scroll down to our data display settings. Because it is related, do show edit links by default. This is another very handy, commonly used setting, which always shows these links. So simple as that, quite easy to understand. We touched on this one in the previous modules. This is about speeding up the counting. And now let's have a look at this one. So firstly, I'll show you the problem. Sometimes we're going to edit a record. We'll do an auto-generate field because you need something that can't be edited usually. And select the digit. So let's move it up. So let's just submit a record. And we'll submit one more. So let's edit this. As you can see, it's actually possible to edit that record. Same with plain data. So we'll just do one plain data field. Or I'll have to give it some sort of default value because we're not populating it from anything else. And as you can see, it's hidden actually. We'll just have to go to our data display settings so we can see it. So I'll just say we can see 6 fields and now it's included, as you can see. Press update. Here's your plain data. We press edit. As you can see, you can edit the auto generate and you can edit the plain data. So that's the problem. Sometimes you don't want that even when editing. And this setting simply prevents that. And as you can see, I can't edit those records. That one is for the inbound shipment number. The auto generate is locked in regardless of whether I'm admin or not. Show pop-up when exiting the block. So this is quite a handy one. Sometimes if you're in the middle of filling something out and you want to leave the block, you get a pop-up. And that's simply it. It's very useful, even though it's such a simple little feature. If I X out of this, I'm up here in my browser. Again, you're getting that pop-up as a warning. A few of these things will be legacy. We'll just block them for now. Success pop-up. What this is, and we'll type in a message. Well, firstly we'll just do the default one. So I hit submit, and we get a pop-up saying form successfully submitted. And we leave that block. as you can see, we got the pop-up on the setting for leaving it. I'll turn that off again. You can also do your own. Well done. Data is submitted. So you can also do your own message, which is very handy. So there's only one more setting in functional behavior settings, which will not be removed. Sorry, there's two. We'll have to get onto this one as well. Automatically deleted data. So this one, hide username and timestamp from the export data reports. This quite simply prevents the username and timestamp from appearing in this button. So as you can see, it doesn't have it anymore. And there's one last setting, and this is automatically deleting data. I won't be able to show you this setting in place live on this video because the minimum is 1 day. So what it does is basically check is what the setting is. If I put in 5 and set auto delete, what this does is basically delete all data older than 5 days. So as you can see, are you sure you want to continue? At midnight, data will permanently be deleted that is older than the number of days you set. It's great for GDPR and data protection and, well, not even protection, but even not having data. Everything else on this functional behavior setting is going to be legacy, and you might likely won't see it in your system. Cheers, thanks, bye bye.